I've been introduced. My name's Sharon. I'm from Sturt University. Come in. I'm part of the Future Students team at the university. So we talk to everyone about, prospective opportunities of getting into university, all the pathways to get in. We mostly deal with sort of schools, but we also deal with non-school leavers. And I'm really excited to be here today to be able to talk to you about homeschooling as well and what options you have of getting through into university. Okay, so the three main ways to get into Charles Sturt. Finish your Year 11, 12 or your UCA, which is what I understand is the equivalent for homeschooling students. Complete a TAFE vet qualification, and I'll go into these in more detail. And then we also have enabling or direct entry programs, which are available as well. There are also, over and above this, once your student has completed Year 12, if they go out and work and they want to come back in as a non-school leaver, there are opportunities as well where there's credit for prior learning, depending on what they're doing, or experience in the industry. So there's multiple pathways to get into university these days. It's not all about ATAR. And one of the main things I will stress is talk to us. So we are very good at looking at your individual circumstances and going, okay, where are you at? What have you done? Here's the best pathway for you. Might not be direct into a degree, might not even be direct into a certificate. It might be we say do this first, then do that, and then we can get you into that. So I just encourage you to always talk to us. We're very available for those conversations. Okay, so if you finish your UCA, you are what classed as completing Year 12. If you complete Year 12, and that we class you as a student who's completed Year 12 without an ATAR. So in that case then, you are able to, and I will go into these in more detail, I'm just going to introduce the concepts first and then we'll go into them. You can then access the university through our Access Charles Sturt, which is a 6-month free course. And then you can go through and do an undergraduate certificate in university preparation, which would give you guaranteed entry into a whole range of different degrees. So that would take, you can actually do that. So say you have a student who finishes at the end of this year, they could actually go through and complete Access Charles Sturt and the undergraduate certificate of university preparation and still be eligible to enrol next year, because of the way that we've got it set up for scheduling. So that is something that's possible. The other thing that you could do is that you can come in and do an undergraduate certificate. These would be classed like you would have to be talking to the uni very specifically about that, but they are then specific to each degree that would sort of be a pathway into that, and that's why it's really important to have those conversations with us. So if you, for example, wanted to do something in health, you could do an undergraduate certificate in health, and that could give you some credit and take a bit of time off your medical and health science degree. So then I know this is a big one because you all think about going to TAFE, for example, as an option. So our the Certificate 3 from TAFE does meet entry requirements for a whole lot of our courses. I think I've got a list of them here somewhere. Yeah. So these are all the courses that you would be eligible for with a Certificate 3. Not guaranteed entry, but you are eligible to get into all of these courses with a Certificate 3 from TAFE. So that is a pathway that you could look at doing. So in Year 11 and 12, have your student complete a Cert 3, then they could come into studying with us in one of these degrees. One thing I would just say is obviously studying at TAFE, studying through the homeschooling system, we really want to set you up for success. So I would encourage you to look at StudyLink, Access Charles Sturt Entry, and the University Certificate of University Certificate preparation, because it's about also understanding that how we operate at university, and we want to make sure you're successful in that as well. So I'll just go back to here. So with you will receive for some degrees some credit for a certificate if you're doing it at university level. And I think we've got some of them here. So for example, if you go and do a Diploma of Early Childhood and then you want to go into the Bachelor of Education, you'll get 2 years credit on your degree. If you do a Cert 3 in Education Support, that will lead into the Bachelor of Educational Studies, which would then lead into a teaching degree. Bachelor of Educational Studies won't get you qualified as a teacher, you would have to complete additional study. Cert 4 in Vet Nursing, you've got the Bachelor of Veterinary Technology, so that will give you 6 months credit towards that. So you can see here there's Cert 3, Cert 4's diplomas as well. You could do the Cert 3 in, I think it's Health Services Assistant, which would help to get you into nursing as well. And then you've got the Diploma of Community Services, which actually we have an integrated program when it comes to social work, where we work with TAFE. Students are in Diploma of doing the diploma. They come out with both a diploma and a degree at the end of their social work degree. So the first 2 years they're at TAFE anyway. So then if we're just looking at this, and I've mentioned some of these, StudyLink is that short free online subjects. I can actually jump on our website, there is so much information about this. I would really encourage you just to hop on, have a look, see what courses are available or subjects are available through our StudyLink. Like I said, you can then go in, test the waters, look at filling gaps of areas that you might not have covered in your education journey. So it might be maths, there's coding in there, there is academic skills and things like referencing and that sort of thing as well. The next level is to go into our ACE program, which is Access Child Sturt, and that's that one is the 6 month course and it's free. But if you complete that and do the three subjects, will give you credit, one credit, I believe, towards in the UCUP, which is another 4 subjects. And it gets a little bit complicated, but I've got another slide which makes it a bit easier. There is also another 2 ways to get in. So if we have any First Nations students, we have a direct entry program where we have students come on campus for 5 days. They complete that 5 days with the community, and they work through a lot of things that are culturally relevant as well. And at the end of that, if they're successful, they'll get guaranteed entry into a whole range of degrees. And then once the students are over 19, there is a pathway through a direct entry program, Child Sturt Direct Entry, where they do the similar thing, 5-day program, go through. Basically, we're looking at trying to make sure that the student in question has the requirements and the capabilities they need to move forward. If they don't get entry into a degree, we would then offer them, the certificate enabling program to make sure we get them to where they need to be. So I did mention undergraduate certificates. So getting into an undergraduate certificate, you would require completion of any of the following. So Year 12 completion, which is what you'd be doing, Certificate 3 or higher. So if you've gone through and done TAFE, you can do a tertiary prep course through TAFE, that would also get you entry, or relevant work experience. So the one thing with the undergraduate certificates is they are specific to an area. So we've got the undergraduate certificate in university preparation, which is a general getting you ready for university and gives you guaranteed entry into a whole heap of degrees. Undergraduate certificate won't give you guaranteed entry into anything, but it might give you credit towards a course that you're interested in, so it's more of a pathway into something. The thing is, this is jumping and leaping straight into study at university rather than sort of doing a gentle transition where you're learning a little about how to study it as well. So I would be really talking closely with the faculty to make sure that it's relevant and appropriate. We've talked about this, so I've sort of gone backwards a little bit here, but Access Child Sturt Entry is a 6-month course, guaranteed entry into some degrees in credit, but only if you go through the undergraduate certificate. So it's sort of like you have to work through Access Child Sturt Entry, then do an undergraduate certificate in university prep.